welcome to today's episode of Group Therapy Podcast. Today we have actress, producer, director, stunt woman, model, just do everything. Mel Heflin. Tell us about yourself, Mel.
Well, I've been doing this a long time. I've worked on over 100 independent films to date. Not all of them are out. That happens. Um, y- yeah, I love what I do. I love every piece of it, and I do a bunch of different things, and I love them all.
Yeah, you have put out, I looked at it, says 62 that are done, and I think 15 at least that are listed as in production or post-production and stuff. How do you find, because you're modeling on top of all that too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you find time to do it?
So it's really helpful that this is my day job, that um, all of the above, audiobooks, magazines, like all of that is what I do for a living and how I make my bread. So uh, um yeah, that's how I'm able to keep going and doing all of it.
Yeah. So when did you decide in filming to that this was going to be your full-time gig?
Oh gosh, there came a point when I was working as a CNA, and I was having to take all this time off work because I was in demand, and it had never happened before. It had gone from working on like a couple, two, three movies a year to like, okay, I'm having to take off every weekend. I'm having to take off days during the week. And, I crunched some numbers and I was making more money doing the movies. And I was like, all right, let's see where it goes.
Well, you're doing a good job because, like I said, you have just you go on your IMDb page and it's insanity. It's like
I'm grateful for every
but
little bit of it.
oh, let's see if it'll focus here. Whatever. Um, but and we've, like I said, we were talking about this before we started recording. We've worked with some of the same people, or we know some of the same people. I mean, you've worked with Henrik on Smart House just recently.
I wish I had done it in person. I filmed a segment myself. Oh man, that would have been a fun set to be on.
Oh, he's a blast. I was
Yeah,
just an extra in his Bulldog for Christmas, and it was fun. So
amazing.
met a lot of cool people that I'm friends with to this day. So
I
so
love that.
oh yeah.
Most of my friends are the people that I work with.
I
So it's like I do these little work trips and I get to see my buddies.
oh
It's so
yeah.
great.
Did I see? I'm on the. I do. I don't do as much as I used to, but I used to be on the convention circuit because I have a comic book store and stuff like that. So did you do the con circuit still, like
Oh
your
yeah.
or
So, I took a accidental 3.5, 4 year hiatus, but I'm going to hopefully try to wedge myself back into the convention circuit because that's where I see the rest of my buddies.
yep. Oh, that during that time that we won't speak of when we were all told not to go. Uh, I miss so many people because I would see these people, maybe not once a month, but every like 5 6 weeks I'd see them, and then I didn't see them for almost
Ah,
3 years. And I'm like, I talked to them online, and it's like, man, how you doing? Oh, good, just bored. And
yeah. So, it kind of accidentally like worked out for me because I was stuck in Japan for quite a few years during the time that was COVID. So, a lot of people were up late, and so I got to connect with a lot of my people that way. They were up late and it was daytime in Japan, and so
so how did you end up in Japan?
my husband's military.
Ah, that explains
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah, we got orders over there and then off we went.
What branch of the military, if I can ask?
He's in the Navy.
Navy? Oh, sweet. That's what my son was. So
Oh,
8 years in the Navy. He's retired now, but now he's a military contractor now. So
they probably make more money anyway.
yeah, he makes good money for what he does.
Yeah.
Oh man. So how was your time in Japan? I mean, did you
It was boring. It was
boring?
real boring. Nobody's doing much. Well, there is one girl. one lady that is actually creating a whole agency and network over there, but we didn't connect until like 2 weeks before I was moving out of Japan. It always works that way, right?
Yeah.
Um, I had connected with a couple directors over there before I left, but they have since fallen off the face of the map. Uh, Social media in Japan is very different. Um, and with COVID and everything, I wasn't able to make any Japanese movies, but I was able to film a lot from home, and I was able to ramp up my own like studio stuff. Normally I have like a mini photo studio whenever, we're
Yeah.
somewhere with enough space. And living in a Cracker Jack box, I was, setting up my living room. But I had a lot of fun, getting these different lights and getting the green screen and, learning gels on lights and or relearning, I should say. It was fun. And
So
I also got to dabble in audiobooks again, which I'm hoping to continue with.
so how did you get into audiobooks?
So, an old friend of mine wrote me at one point. He was an author, and he was like, "Hey, you do voice acting. Do you do audiobooks?" And I'm like, "Oh, I like to read, but that sounds daunting."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, it's no problem. My books are only like 3 hours." So I gave it a shot, and it's just people are generally very sweet on the reviews, and it really like it touches me, and it really makes me want to keep going and do more. So I
The,
sort of kept going with it.
the, so I gotta. So if you do a 3 hour book, how long does it
Mhm.
take for you to record a 3 hour book?
Okay, so I do a lot of flubs, which I really don't mind because it's me having to edit myself.
Yeah.
I do all the editing. It's not like I'm putting a burden on anybody else. So I I let the flubs happen. I don't like memorize it beforehand, unlike being on set with people. And it probably takes me about 5-ish hours to record a 3 hour book, and then um probably around another 5 to edit that down. So probably around about 10 hours total to edit down to about 3. But most of the books I do now are around like 7 or 8 hours.
So how many times you set down to do that? I mean, do you try to do it one big?
Oh no. I try to aim for about a chapter a day, for the bigger books at least. And depending on what I've got going on, maybe 2 or 3 chapters a day if my kid's in school or something.
So now, do you just read it in your regular voice, or do you do characters, or what?
I do all of the characters.
Do you
I
ever
I actually I
forget?
have a little note system where I every time a new character is introduced in the book, I'll read a little bit ahead and then go back and voice for that character. And I try to think of an existing character, and you'll probably, if you listen to any of my books, you might pick up on which character I'm trying to imitate. Like I don't know, I'll write down like notes like Timmy Turner-esque or something like that, and just so that I can remember for the next time I have to voice for that character.
Oh, I was gonna say, because I would start getting confused and start doing the same voice for two different characters, or a completely different
I
accent
really
for a
try
character.
not to. But sometimes there's this one series that I'm working on, and I love it so much, but it has so many characters that every now and then like there'll be like sisters, and they have very, very, very similar sounding voices.
Cheat a little bit, just oh, she might drag her R's a little harder than the other ones, but then so that would be horrible, because you're only seeing what this part of. I have my walls right here, so I'd have like a dry erase board with everything written on it. With all the like,
It sounds very, very similar.
it's bad enough I have to try just to remember who I'm interviewing from week to week. You couldn't imagine trying to do the voice. I did voiceover work one
Oh my
time,
gosh, it's the best. It's so
and
fun.
I had a blast doing it. This lady was making some sort of fairy tale uh cartoon movie all out of her house.
Amazing.
And so I came in, she's like, well, we need somebody to do voices. I ended up doing, I think, like 6 different voices. And to this day, I have no clue if it was ever released. I never saw a penny of any money from it. But as far as I know, it's probably one of them like
It's like
cheap.
my life.
It's legit. Like you go to the dollar store. I'm sure if you dig through them little bins of like the dollar kids DVDs, you might find the one I was in.
I totally get it.
So, uh, but so with doing voiceover work, what other things have you done voiceover work for?
So, of course, like the rest of my life, I've done so much more than has ever come out. But thankfully, with the audiobooks, that's, I have a little more control there. So, I did a Betty Boop dating simulator. This was like over 10, 15 years ago. I don't even know if it's still available online anywhere. Um, there's been several times I've been, kids, like children, like 13, 14 years old have written me based on, because I have my voice reel on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be like, oh, can you, give us a couple voices for our cartoon, our YouTube cartoon or whatever. And, it's fun.
Yeah.
um, I also got to do a mocap video game, only ever one, and it didn't come out, but that was probably the most fun I've ever had. Like trying to force my face to move more than it normally does.
Oh yeah, because it's funny because I have friends that are wrestlers, and they talk about that. They're like, well, the first things you learn is facial, because you want people like, oh, you're in pain or stuff like that. So you got to over
Yeah.
exaggerate everything so people can see you way out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, and you talk about mocap, and I'm like, oh, I bet you'd have to do the exact same thing.
It I'm picturing it, and it feels the way I imagine.
So, like I said, you're pounding out a ton of movies right now. What are you currently working on?
Oh, this is why I took notes before we got on here. So there's like a lot of stuff that I just recently did. Um, so I just wrapped, like, not even 2 weeks ago, filming Terrifying T-Rex. I was bouncing around a lot of different hotel rooms, and we just sort of filmed segments for, do you know Brad Thomason?
A name sounds familiar. I don't know him personally.
Yeah. Um, and I just worked with him a little over like 2 weeks ago. I went and filmed at his house. We did prehistoric predators, and we filmed a scene for Killer Kong, and that was super fun. Prehistoric Predators is already out, and we filmed it like 2 weeks ago.
Jeez, was
Yeah, it's amazing.
whew, that is that
It's
is
a
uh that is some dedication to be able to put together, edit, add everything. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh gosh, we had a lot of fun making that. it's very it's very bad on
So
purpose.
very bad. The
We
one
had
that I love the title for is This Film Hates You.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that one. So the, I I love the community that is Jacksonville, Florida. They are very cliquey, most of them. And I was told if I came and I, worked on this big group scene, that it was going to get me in. And I don't think anybody talked to me that entire time except for me signing
That
the
your
image
paperwork.
release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had to do
So
that myself on Friday. So
yeah. Yeah, hopefully I get in with the group that is Jacksonville one day, but I feel like I will always be an outsider to them. But
I joke around that I am the bastard child of or the unwanted stepchild of horror hosting, all this stuff, movie directing stuff, because I'm always at slightly adjacent, and I've been
yeah,
in movies, but I'm
Yeah.
always kind of the one that's like, why is he here? Oh, he's acting today. Oh, okay. So and people know me and they recognize me, which is odd. But then they're like, "Oh yeah, I know you from you're the comic book store guy." Yeah, yeah, I'm the comic book store guy.
That's that's pretty relatable actually, except nobody recognizes me in person. Apparently in person I look entirely different. I don't know. I'll be on set with people and they'll just completely like, why is this girl talking to me? And then later that day they'll be like, oh my god, I didn't know you were there. Like, I tried to talk to you.
I, I I was on a movie set Friday night.
Yeah.
I was filming, and I start realizing I'm like sitting there talking to people, and they're like, "Dude, I know you," and I'm like, "I'm sorry." I was like, "I know so many people that." And then the other guy, I'm sitting there looking at him like, "You're Chuck, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You know my wife," and he goes, "I thought that was you."
See, knowing people on Facebook is tough too because like I'll be on set with them and if I don't recognize them, it's like, oh, well, you're a fairy in your profile picture. I was kind of expecting the wings.
It's weird because a lot of people, like I said, people know me from like three different things, but never all together. So
Yeah.
if they see me at one thing, they're like, if I'm at a horror convention, they know me as the comic book guy and video game guy. So like, oh, you're here selling? I'm like, no, I'm not here doing anything. I'm like, but then I've been at a horror con, and then I have these people sitting next to me, and this lady's just looking at me, and I'm like, can I help you? And she's like, are you are you on YouTube? And I'm like, yeah, I got a couple shows. I'm on YouTube. She goes, thought so. My son watches your show. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, so people know me, but weirdly from different things I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, cool, whatever. I guess.
It's tough when you do a bunch of different things.
And it's all because I'm insane and I do not rest. Uh,
I get it.
Sunday was bad. Sunday was the day I finally crashed. Um, I fell asleep down here on the couch watching TV, and I'm like, I look around, and I'm like, I can't read nothing, so I yelled at the Echo thing, and I'm like, what time is it? And it's like the time is 7:04 a.m. I'm like, oh, okay. Ah, the hell with it. I'm going back to sleep. So I rolled back over, went back to sleep. Then I woke up my normal time, got my stuff done, came down here. My wife's sitting with me, and pretty soon I'm sitting there going, and I slept for like another, I slept from midnight to almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I finally just crashed because I go, 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 go. And she's like, well, you need that every once in a while. I'm like, man, if I can go the way I go and then like once every 2 months I sleep for 14 hours, then I'm good. But yeah, it's and it sucks because I'm getting older and it's slowing down.
Yeah. Happening
Uh,
to all of us. A little bit at a time.
so I gotta ask, how is it acting and traveling and stuff with a kid, with a gotta be a young one, right?
Oh my gosh. So I'm really grateful for the people in my life. There has been times when my kid was really small and I was breastfeeding, so he just sort of came along with me and like I may be made up like a werewolf from here up, but I'm holding my kid and breastfeeding down here. you know. Um he's gonna have interesting stories when he's older.
Oh
um
yeah. Mine are the same way. Mine are ironically enough almost all but one are adults now, and they're like they grew up in the convention circuit. They've been going to convention with me since they were born. So they've
yeah.
met tons of people. They've hung out with all these people and everything. And I'm like, you've lived a life most kids will never be able to live in their entire life.
Oh gosh, when my son was, I guess, around like 4 or 5 months old, he did his first convention with me, and we got the photo op with Elvira, and I have a picture of all of us together, and she's holding my son as a little baby dressed as a bat, and it's like near and dear to my heart. And there's the pictures like the satanic priest praying over the baby. It's so much fun.
Well, mine was we were hanging out and my kids kept going by and I was trying to teach them, horror movies aren't real scary. They're not, they're all fake, whatever. So we're sitting there at a con and I think it was in Pittsburgh. Uh, we were there and uh, geez, I'm trying to remember who all was there. But Kane Hodder was the big one that was there.
Yeah.
And he's over there, and I was sitting there, I looked at my boys because they were still pretty little. I'm like, hey, buds. I was like, you remember Jason from Friday the 13th? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, is he scary? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, see that guy right there? And they're like, yeah. I was like, is he scary? And they're like, no, he's just a guy. And I was like, that's Jason. They're like, what? And I'm like, so I go over, they meet him, he talks with them, and he goes, am I scary? And they're like, no. And he's like, am I scary now? And he's like, no. He signed autographs for my kids for free, and I'm like, oh, sweet. So my kids, when they were little, met, and they to this day, that's something they can bring up that they got to hang out with Kane Hodder, and as the one I love telling my son Joe because he's 20, going to be 24. He met Tom Savini in the bathroom at Pittsburgh Comic-Con because he was a little kid and he was doing the pee-pee dance and peed on his shoe. And so I will hold that against my son till the day he dies. I was like, you peed on Tom Savini's shoe. And he's like, you love telling people that, Dad? I'm like, because it's funny.
That's funny.
And he was super nice about it. I'm like, oh my God, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he goes, I've got kids and grandkids. I know what it's like. And I'm like, I know, but I'm so sorry. I was like, and he's like, nah, it's all good. It's all good. Cause I'd always heard the horror stories about Tom and he ended up being a super nice guy. And I'm like, all right, cool. So, so, so thinking about it, have you worked with anybody that you were scared to work with and find out that they're this like total sweethearts that
Hmm. I don't think so. I always go into a new project like, oh, this is going to be so great. We're all going to be friends. It's going to be amazing. Like pretty much every single time, and it always is. Even if it doesn't stay that way, it at least begins, you know. I've never personally had problems, but you know, long days, eating pizza every day for 14 days straight, sometimes there's a bit of tension, but I've never had any problems
well, that's good because
that I know of. I mean, if somebody tells you different,
no,
like,
I've heard nothing but good things
you.
about you. I mean, that's one of the reasons I reached out to you because I was like, man, I've heard nothing but good things,
Aw.
and it's nice, because yeah, you'll still get people who are like, oh, they're and but I've not heard one bad thing about you ever. So and
People are good to me.
yeah, and you seem like a very nice, sweet person. So
Well, thank you.
and legitimately, that's one of the reasons I reached out to you about working on my film was because I'd heard really good things.
I just
It
love to
was,
work.
yeah. Oh my God. The, you are like every time I see your Facebook page, or like I said, even looking at you are always on the go. You're filming somewhere.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it all.
Jeez. And have you ever like double booked yourself by accident or anything like that?
So I I do some, like with modeling and everything,
Hmm.
like I'll be flying or driving into an area for only like 4 days. And I have, these 4 days. And normally I try to do one shoot a day because the stretching, even as I'm getting older, like I get a little tired. Um, it's a lot of work doing like a 2 or 3 hour shoot. And then, the more people trying to book me, and I really don't like to say no because I love to do it all. There's been a lot of times where I'll do 2 or 3 sometimes even 4 shoots in one day. And, 4 is like, I need a day off the next day. But yeah, I like to do it all. I hate to say no, because if somebody really wants to work with me, I really want to work with them, and it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, because what is it? It's not people asking you. It's when people stop asking you. Is when it's when. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, because this world is feast or famine, and if you're not feasting, it's it's usually the other way around. So you got to get it while the getting's good.
yeah, because it is a lot of people that I've seen recently that have just really kind of started coming into the business are now like blowing up, and you're like they're gone every weekend, or they're here, they're there, they're here, they're there, they're still trying to do conventions. Some of them still have regular jobs, and I'm like, I
And we
don't.
don't know about the lows yet, but it's just when things aren't good, or the economy's down, because we feel the immediate effects of what's going on with the economic conditions, because depending on how things are depends on how much you're getting paid, or if people can afford you at all. And when things are tough, it's just getting through that dry period, however long it might be. And oh, man, I have some friends who came in, and they like to tell me, "Oh, Mel, you're so lucky. People will always hire you." And it's like we've all hit low periods. It's just getting through that. Like I try not to complain, because I know it's gonna come back up eventually, and it's just getting through those moments, because it
Well,
will come back. Might take
yeah.
a while, but it will.
Well, I was describing you to a friend who's helping me work on the movie, and I was like, she is very much the has a very girl next door, I was like, she's very much the like, if you were in high school with her, you would have wanted to ask her out, but you were almost too afraid. But you would have loved hanging out with her, but you'd have been like, man, I don't know if I can date her because she's not gonna date me. So but and he's like, and I brought it, and he's like, yeah, I could see that. That's definitely. Now, thinking of that though, do you ever have people that you went to school with or something find your movies and then be like, oh, I remember her back in school, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I had a friend not that long ago. I say that not that long ago. It could have been like 7 or 8 years, but it sticks out in my mind because we went to high school together, and they wrote me, and they were like, "Hey, Mel, I didn't know that you're doing movies now. That's awesome. I was wondering if I could have a small loan." And I'm like, "Whoa!" Like like, and they're like, "Well, it's only like 4 or 5 thousand." And I'm like, what? What is it you think I'm doing?
Well, I thought it was bad because I had somebody I hadn't seen since junior high reach me on Facebook one time, and he was talking. He's like, "Oh man, I can't believe it's been almost 30 years, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," chit chatting and whatever. And all of a sudden, man, out of the blue, he's like, "Hey man, can I get $500 off of you?" And I'm like, "No,
It's because we're so rich.
yeah, I don't,
Don't you know we get paid like 2 or 3 mil per movie?
yeah." It's like people think I own my own business, so they think I got money. They know I have a YouTube channel, so they think I make a ton of money there. I'm like, you know how much money I've made off of YouTube?
But you know what? They did explain themselves, because I was like, um, they screenshotted my net worth according to the internet was $7 million.
What?
Yeah, according to the internet. You can look it up, Mel Heflin net worth, and it possibly still says 7 million, unless they see all these movies. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm not joking.
All,
It's like
although the best thing for me is that my name, Paul Lee,
Mhm.
is a comic book artist and one of the heads at ABC. Um,
Oh,
so I have gotten,
so your supposed net worth is like 40 million. You're a little
oh
richer
yeah,
than me.
we a few years ago I got invited to be a guest at a convention because they thought I was the comic book artist Paul Lee. And I told him, I was like, I'd love to come to your comic book, but I'm not a comic book artist. I'm a comic book store owner. If you still want me to have the free table, I'm more than welcome to take the free.
Hey,
No, guys, like, oh, I'm sorry. The best one was um, I had these people get a hold of me and ask me if I want to do a TED talk, and I'm like, what? I was like, you know who I am? And they're like, you're blah blah blah. I was like, did you even look did, at anything connected to me? Because I am not that guy. I was like, that is a
but you
hundred
could
percent.
cosplay that guy.
Yeah, I will totally do a TED talk, but I don't think you want the TED talk that I'm going to tell you about. I get. Oh no, 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 no! You are now worth
What's it say?
$1 million.
It's only 1 million. I'm only worth $1 million.
There's the picture that they have of you too on there.
I don't know. I don't know where they find these.
I think if you're under a certain amount, you're just $1 million, which
It used to say 7 million, I assure you.
hey, I'm
I
so
went down in worth.
that what you're worth to yourself is your my self worth to be like, how much do you worth? Nothing. Holy crap! Are you negative money now? What? Hey, this is the first time in my life that I don't owe people a lot of money, so I feel pretty good. I owe on this. I owe on the house. Does that count?
I would say yes.
Oh yeah.
That's a hot commodity in this day and age.
Yeah. I took forever. Finally, this is the one thing that did spawn out of the pandemic that worked great was being a store owner. We got that like $10,000 chunk of money for being unemployed
Nice.
during the, and so I took that money and put it as a down payment on the house. So
Genius.
yes, that's how I ended this. So
That
and
is
and then I got my lair, which you were talking about filming in multiple places. If I do this show, the camera's here and I face this way. If I do my other show, the camera swings around and I shoot this way. That's my whole
hey,
set.
different locations.
I got location. And technically, if I wanted to be a really big thing, I can clean all this bull crap off. I have a bar, so I can film in the bar.
There was one shot that we did for Terrifying T-Rex 2 where I liked this elevator better than I liked the inside of the room. So we sort of mushed them together. And I can't wait to see it. I have not seen it yet. Speaking of, can't wait to see things. Did you see that Carousel 3 is now available on Blu-ray and DVD?
I did just see that like 2 days ago. I think is when you posted that.
I got a sneak peek of it, and it is an incredible piece of cinema. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I love it.
I have carousel 1 and 2, so now I need three.
I got to voice Detective Duck, and I love Detective Duck. He is so cute.
So I know this is gonna be a hard one, but do you have a movie that you're probably the proudest of?
You know, I think I do. I think I do, and it's only because like this is the one that the average convention goer, they'll see me at a convention and they'll be like, "You, you worked on Mrs. Claus." And I love Christmas.
Cool.
Yeah, back when I smoked, I was outside of a convention having a cigarette, and these people just asked me for a lighter, and then they were like, and then they were like, you, were you, did you? And I'm like, yeah, that's me.
The only time that anything even remotely cool like that happened is we were outside of Horror Hound, and my friend was smoking a cigarette, and this guy next to me was, "Hey man, can I borrow your lighter?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't have a lighter." I was like, "I got one in my van." He goes, "Oh man, where's it at?" I was like, "It's right over here." And we start walking towards my van, and then somebody goes, "Hey, that's Norman Reedus." So he's like trying to bum a cigarette and a lighter off me, and I'm like, "I don't smoke, man, but I got some
Wow,
in the van."
that's awesome.
But yeah, it's like it didn't dawn on me because I didn't think about it. Just because conventions tends to be lots of people, and you don't even realize sometimes who you're talking to outside of like their booth space. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that happened kind of, I guess, at the last con. I'm sitting there talking to this kid, and we're walking out because he just got food, and he's talking about the convention, about the day, and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, man, it's hey, good, hey, high five, man, take care, have a good day, blah blah blah. Walk off. So, you know who that is? And I'm like, some kid, and they're like, no, 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 that's the kid from Cobra Kai. That's the Blue Beetle kid. I'm like, oh, he's got a beard now, man. I don't know, but yeah, it's like because you don't think about it because it's just a dude at a con at that point.
Yeah.
Um, so talking about being noticed, have you ever been noticed for your movies outside of like out at grocery shopping or someplace else?
Only like one time, and it was right after I was on the cover of Retro Lovely. Um and it was the Taboo edition. And this older gentleman and was kept staring at me. And his wife like was like, and I was like, hello? And then he asked where he knew me from. And we were like legit trying to figure out if like I took care of his parents when I worked as a CNA, or like what the circumstances were. And then he just blurts out, "Are you in titty magazines?" or something along those lines. And I'm just like, oh, there you have it. I was mortified the looks I was getting from the wife after that. But I think that's the only time. And I was at Costco that time. And yeah, yeah, that was real fun.
Of course, it's Costco. It's either like the big or like Walmart. So uh, so we were talking about people from your past and stuff finding you and discovering you. Now, do you have like people you grew up with that are now become fans of your movies and stuff like that?
I think quite the opposite. One of my best friends, her dad and stepmom is always keeping up with my stuff. That everything that goes on Tubi, they watch, and I want to say that it's a little weird because I do all the nude scenes, but it's really not, because they're very artsy people, so that's pretty cool. But all of um all of my friends from back in the day, it's almost like they just refuse to see me that way or something. I've tried. Um, I've tried to be like, oh, let's let me show you my most recent masterpiece. And my friend Sam, I showed her one of my very early films. It was a student film by somebody I worked with, and she was like, Mel, what the hell is this? And I'm like, I'm gonna do more and I'm gonna show it to you. So she's skeptical. She's skeptical about my stuff because I'm always proud of everything that I work on. And not everything is the same quality. I love it all.
You got to be proud of yourself, even if the movie is mediocre or even bad. You
I'm proud of all of us.
Yeah.
We come together, we make this amazing thing, and if we can't be proud of it, then who's gonna be?
Oh yeah. It's bad is that I did one movie that technically was finished, but it's never been finished. It's finished recording and stuff like that. The director passed away before it was finished. But I
Oh,
got to see my scene in that movie,
yeah.
and it was funny because he looks at me one day, and he used to do his thing at the local theater, or his local theater, not mine, but I had to drive 30 minutes away to see it. He'd do a Friday night double feature of cheesy, weird movies. Like he'd do low budget independent movies, and they do like one exploitation movie and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I've seen so many movies that I would have never seen, and I'm like, oh, so I start dragging my friends, and so literally we're closing up the shop at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night. The theater starts at 8. So I'm legitimately getting my buddies like, come on, eat, come on, let's go, let's get in the car, let's go. We got 30 minutes to get there. We want to get there, we want to get a good seat. So I'm dragging my buddies down there. But we do that on Friday, like 2 Fridays a month. And one day I was by myself, and he's like, are you in a hurry? Because we'd already just saw 2 movies. This is like 1 in the morning. And I'm like, nah, not really. Just gonna go home and probably go to bed. And he's like, I got something to show you. Just chill out while I finish doing stuff. I'm like, okay, because go sit in the theater. So I'm sitting in the theater, and then pretty soon the light flickers on, and it's the scene of me in the movie. And first acting I'd ever done, first thing I'd ever been in, that wasn't something me and my friends made back when we were in high school. And it was fun. I'm like looking at that, I'm like, I did pretty good, I think, and it was like for like 30 seconds, the only thing you see on the screen is my big ass head. And, and I am so proud of that moment. And no one will
Yeah.
probably ever see it. And everything else I've done has just been extra work, or behind the scenes stuff, or whatnot. But I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I do it. I do it just like to have fun. It'll never be my job. I'm a salesman by heart, so that's what I do.
I totally relate. So, oh gosh, some of my most epic, epic footage ever will never be seen. Um, I had this really hot alien sex scene, and calling you out, Steve. What's going on with Zomboner 2?
Well, man, you're gonna have to send me his name and stuff, and I'm gonna interview him, and we're gonna talk about this. And like,
I love that man. I love that man's family. I love that man. Where is Zomboner 2? I want to see it. I want to see it.
an epic alien sex scene.
It's epic. But not I have multiple sex scenes in this movie, and I look so good.
So wait a minute, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Are you is the alien epic alien sex scene? Are you the alien in the sex scene, or are you
No,
having?
I've never done that. I've never played an alien yet.
Yeah. See, I am doing my movie, which you would be an alien, but there's no sex scene. So, but I could do a sequel,
Yeah.
which I'm trying to sneak in because I'm doing a anthology, and somehow I'm trying to sneak in so I can do a sequel. So, because if you don't, no one else. If you don't, what is it? If you're not promoting yourself, no one else will. So I am always
I
promoting.
don't know all about that. I
Well,
don't know. I
yeah,
had a fan of mine have a legit Mel Heflin movie marathon today. And every new movie he was watching, he would post about. It was the sweetest thing. I was so honored.
is it sweet or creepy?
I don't think that's creepy at all.
Okay.
They're there to be watched.
See, that's one thing I've asked all my female friends that have done movies and stuff like that. And I'm like, because you always get the pervy guys that are always like, hey, you know, I watch you naked. Huh?
No,
You've
I
never got
think it's
that?
like, well, it depends on what you consider pervy.
I've heard some creepy, and there's like guys like trying to use it as like almost a compliment, but it comes off so creepy, and it's not. Maybe
I
they're
mean,
just naturally
okay,
creepy.
so
It just comes out creepy no matter how hard they try.
there was one guy that told me that he beat off to, like, he would rewind my death clip. I forget which movie it was, but he would rewind it over and over and to it. And like, yeah, that was a bit much. But I've had really sweet things happen. Like somebody wrote a love letter to my armpits, and that is not a joke. I thought that was really sweet. Like that made me like who thinks about armpits? And apparently mine are attractive. So
We had this discussion the other day at the shop. Everybody's got a thing.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody.
Apparently I have attractive armpits. So much so that someone wrote an actual I wish I could find it. I wish I could find it. I would like hang it up on my fridge.
I'm I'm not gonna lie. I started getting fan mail because of my shows, and which is weird. Like real legitimate letters sent through the mail, and I'm just like, who still does this? You know? But I'm like, I'm really happy. I have to go tell my wife, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, well, contact. And I'm like, I'm happy that I could be a part of their life and stuff. So she goes, write all that. Tell me right
I
now.
want letters. I just get lingerie and shoes.
Hey, hey, if it works, it works. I got a box of toys, so
Go on.
I don't know. I I guess if somebody wanted to send me, it wouldn't get worn, but I mean, it would go in a file somewhere on cool stuff that I've gotten from people.
It's
Uh,
it's very exciting for male days.
so did they get your size right?
Oh, I have an Amazon wish list.
Oh, okay. That's
People are
cheap.
very good to me.
So I always wondered because I've talked to so many people who have Amazon wish lists. Does that really like it does well for you guys? I mean, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Sometimes I have no idea who sends it though, so I can't thank them properly.
Oh, hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. There's if they pull it off your wish list, there's nothing that pops up that somebody bought something off of it.
No, but it will be hidden like every now and then if I have a shoot coming up and I need to order some stuff or something, just for, fresh looks. I'll go to my wish list and things that have already been bought will be hidden.
Okay,
Things that are on their way.
yeah. This I know this is dumb, but we did that for Christmas for my youngest because he loves Sonic and Mario. So we put all this Sonic and Mario stuff on there, and it would just disappear.
Yeah.
Does it go away? And so I have to. Your husband has to be a very understanding guy. I
Oh,
mean,
he's the coolest.
yeah, that's when you get somebody that you can relate with and gets you and gets what you do on a level. That's amazing. I
A
mean,
100%.
yeah. I mean, I give crap to my wife, but she's dealt with me for in October 30 years, and she deals with this crap all the time. Like she's legitimately all the way upstairs with the dogs, so I can record these shows.
I mean, even just the last few weeks have been amazing because he films my scenes for Terrifying T-Rex too, and he's like, "Hold on, let me get a higher angle so that we don't get underneath your chin or any of that." And it's just, I'm very lucky in all the ways.
There you go. There you go. So all you guys out there, no, there is a guy out there who will beat your ass if you try.
Photographers all the time are like, you know, your husband won't come after me, will he? And it's like, why? What are you gonna do to me?
Because as long as you do your job and you do your
Yeah,
job
if you're
correctly,
just
you
taking
are fine.
pictures, you know.
And you should remember that if you do screw up, he will come here and he will. So does he ever get to go on set with you and stuff and
He
with being
has
in the
a few
military?
times. There was one movie, a werewolf movie that I was working on, and he got to assist essentially with some special effects and stuff. And he's gotten to be an extra quite a few times. He was in a vampire fight scene. He was in, and this is weird. It wasn't, I say not that long ago. It was probably 10 years. So I was where was I? I was like at a convention or something that I was like, brought into. Um, and they were filming this scene outside, and they were like, "Hey, come on!" Just whoever would go out back and film it. And of course, they had no idea who I am, and that it's whatever. But I was like, "Hey, but seriously, credit me and let me know when this comes out." I have no idea where it is. It was like a pretty well put together superhero movie. Like the costumes were totally rad, and I forget the full plot synopsis, but it was like some supervillain had did something, and all these people like wanted to fight each other. And me and my husband got to be in those scenes, but I can't even tell you what the name of the movie is because they didn't credit me. I don't know.
So you do a lot in horror. Is
Yeah,
there another genre that you would like to work in?
I really like science fiction. Primarily horror. Creature features are my jam. I love some creature features. I love slashers. I like cheesy. I aspire to one day maybe like do my own thing, and I really want the blood to be bright pink and glittery, like the over the top cheesy.
Like Lost Boys with the over the top glittery blood and stuff like that.
Yeah, like genre like zombieverse, those sort of things. Like what is happening? This is amazing. Um, I I have a couple of things written, things that need to be changed around a little bit. My late friend David Fott and I were working on a comic book together called The Curse of the Aquatic Lycanthropic Cheerleaders. I know that's a mouthful, but yeah, like I need to turn it into a movie because he passed away before he finished the first comic.
Yeah, it's working in comics is hard. I've got a few of them that are done that have never seen the light of day. So, and then all the scripts I have written and everything else. And I was hoping to shoot my, I wanted to do a web series for like YouTube,
Go on.
and it was going to be a cross between John Wick and The Crow with some Japanese mythology thrown in.
Okay.
Uh, it was called the Oni, and what it is that you would don the person would don a mask, an Oni mask, and they would go get revenge. And
Mm.
it's the whole thing where when you go for revenge, always dig two graves, one for the person, one for yourself, because you're going to.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point is that you will go get revenge, but it will kill you eventually.
Yeah.
And I did that. I scripted some of that stuff, and I was going to do it, and I was like, man, I think this would work as a series. Maybe do like 4 episodes, then a new person, then 4 episodes and a new person. And I was like, that'd probably work because you wouldn't have to have constantly the same people. You wouldn't have to tie up everybody's weekends for several weeks in a row. You'd get 4 weeks or whatever, knock that out. Then the next group of people would come in. You'd work on that. And then I got a movie handed to me, and now I'm working on that. And I'm going crazy because this is not something for me. This is for somebody else. And, And
There's a lot of scheduling and stuff involved. It's maddening.
yeah, and I'm kind of panicking because I have another lead that's spaced on me a little bit, so I don't know what's happening there. We have to move times around. I canceled a convention appearance for myself so I could work on it in September. Plus, I have my convention coming up, so I'm like, oh, I need to slow down.
I get it. I get it. It's tough. I like to schedule things like, well, as of right now, since I'm still working my way back, I'm trying to do no more than 2 things a month, especially like not knowing what child care is going to look like and like
Mhm.
figuring that out in the next couple of months. So, um, if anything like gets delayed by 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to bump into other things. And then it's going to be this weird snowball effect of me having to make cancellations and me coming back like this. I'm not planning on canceling anything because I'm like craving for it to be like back physically on set, like talking to people face to face, not doing, and people were so kind to me, letting me do self-filmed like video call roles. And the my favorite that I did during that time was probably Graveyard Stories 3, where I play the horror host. And that's not out yet, but it's going to be epic because I, that was me with the gels and ordering the backdrop and, you know, every
See,
little bit.
with mine is that I'm hoping that even if it falls through that I can't get you up here, I can't get you on set, I got another role that we can put you in, that you can film on your own, and then
Okay,
we can put you in the movie. Yeah.
I
So
can
so
make that work.
yeah. So you probably won't be the nerdy magic girl at the beginning, but I think you could either be
I have my
a
glasses right here.
there you go, Batoon. See, you got that, and it's you got appeal. You have a very approachable appeal. You know what I mean?
Well,
That
thank
that
you.
yeah.
Not everybody tells me that. One of my really good friends who I'm actually getting to shoot with on Friday, um, we were at the same convention and I was like, and he was like, because apparently I'm intimidating. There I am, and he's like, but
Well,
but yeah, not so much anymore.
you're so nice and friendly that if you're too nice, not, I want to say not too nice and friendly, but you're so
I come
friendly
on strong.
that people are like, oh, I can't level with that. I, as I tell everybody, I was like, if it depends on where you find me, on how pleasant I am, because I am at the gym, I am hyper focused, and I don't like to talk to people, and I like to go in there, work out, and I leave, unless I'm with my best friend who goes with me because I'm his push. I'm the one that makes him work out, and me and him will talk. But if I'm there by myself, I don't talk. And everyone's like, "You're kind of rude at the gym." I was like, "Dude, I'm there to work out and get out and go home." It's like, if you catch me 20 minutes later on my shop, I will tell you everything. I was talking to you like nothing flat. But like I said, gym's one place, cons are another place, my shop's another place. Um, the only place I don't is my house. I'm weird. I don't. My best friends, um, I could probably count on one hand in almost 3 years how many times my friends have been in my house because I'm weird about my privacy and when it comes to like my stuff. Even though I'm on the internet showing people everything I have, it's, it's like if they're in the same room, it's weird. I, uh, but with you putting out all these movies, you're directing now, you're writing now. Is there anything that you haven't done yet that you would like to do in film?
Hmm. So I downloaded Blender and uh I've been doing the YouTube tutorial classes, and I really want to learn how to create and animate CGI things because I have ideas. And I'm probably gonna have to wait until I have like my own desk. I'm actually at my in-laws right now. Um I started out with like sitting down and like focusing for 2.5 hours. And in that time, I only learned how to adjust the lighting and move the cube. So I want to make ridiculous, epic things in CGI.
I tried stop motion.
Oh my God. That's
I
probably even longer of a process.
Oh my God. I'm sitting there and I was tweaking and taking a picture, tweaking to take a picture, tweaking to take a picture. And I did this over, I don't know, like 2 weeks. And I'm like, all right, let's see how much I got done. It's like, that's it. Why do people do this? Why would you? Oh, I think I had like a minute in 2 weeks. I think I did not even a minute. And I'm like, so working on a computer would, and I'm bad at computers. My wife would walk me through everything.
I really aspire to work on more video games too. So hopefully, if I can figure all that stuff out, I'll be able to like join a team of people and like get to voice alongside with like making cat spiders.
Yes. The spiders,
Spider cats.
spike cats, spikets.
I have mock-ups. They're insane.
It's finding all these people like you and stuff. We're all super like creative, and there's so much stuff going inside your head. And
All the time.
I tell my wife, I was like, there's a universe going on in here all the time, every moment of every day. And she goes, "What's the one thing you wish you could do?" I was like, "We should get quiet."
That's a thought.
Because and the other thing she asked was, I'm going to ask you since you've now voiced it. When you read a book, do you see it as a movie or do you read it in your head and do you hear the voices in the voices that you've created in your head?
Oh no, I think I see it as a movie. But you know what? Speaking of inner monologues, um, something that's pretty rare. Not everybody has an inner monologue. But do you
Mhm.
know what's rarer than not having an inner monologue? Having an inner monologue that is not your own voice. Patrick Stewart talks inside here. I
Mine was
hear his
Sean
voice all
Connery.
day, like the inner monologue. Mine's Patrick Stewart.
Up until relatively recently, mine was Sean Connery. It was the hard Irish, I'm gonna have to go over here. And, you're like, you're this and like, what is that in my head? And now it's kind of become Samuel L. Jackson. So, and if I don't watch myself when I'm talking and I get really kind of excited, I drop MF constantly without
Oh
thinking.
no.
My wife's like, shh, oh, stop cussing so much. And I'm like, I was? And she's like, yeah, a lot. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. But I mean, ah, but I do and I don't realize I say it because I'm talking. I keep going and it's like blah, 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 blah. And next thing you know, the MFs and GDs as they yell at me for doing. I'm like, all right, I'm sorry. Ah, the okay, so with what you got going on now, how many current movies do you have lined up by the end of the year?
Oh goodness, by the end of the year, so there's a secret project I'm potentially working on in November. And then there's another project in November I'm trying not to book too much. It's called Death Lurker, and I get to go to New York. That's not the secret one. That's the other one. Um, yeah, yeah. Super looking forward to that. Um, uh, Matt Peters. I'm losing the name of his film company right now. I took some notes, not enough apparently. Matt Peters. He just filmed Graveyard Shark, and I don't know if you've seen the stills for that, but they're just like wow. I got an opportunity to go work on it, and I'm kicking myself in the butt every day. But it was like a 7.5 hour drive each way, and that was the week that I was driving 4 hours here, 4 hours back, 6 hours here, 6 hours back, like every single day. And I couldn't spread myself as thin as I really wanted to, because just wow. But I get to work with him on Death Lurker. It's going to be a great time. And then I really don't have anything for December, but I'm sure I'll find myself getting into something. And then I'm already booking into next year. I'm so lucky. Um, I'm working on Cheerleader Elimination in January, and that's with Julie. Julie, why am I forgetting her last name? Because I'm an awful person. You know Julie.
Uh, I know lots of Julians, unfortunately.
It's her directorial debut. I'm so excited for it. We just worked together on Camp Blood 666 Part 2, where I got to work from home and communicate with her on all of that.
So
Um, yeah.
have you ever taken a movie just so you can like go, well, I've always wanted to go here and they're gonna film there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and
Oh no, but I'll totally take it based on the title.
what was that? Camp Blood 666? Ah, there it is.
Part 2.
The part
Camp
two.
Blood
Okay.
666 Part 2. Julie.
Julianne Prescott.
Yes. Amazing.
Let's see. Definitely.
I get to work with so many cool people
Oh,
on
yeah,
that.
no.
I mean, obviously with Julie, Heather Harlow, Um, I get to see my dear friend Monique Dupree on that one, and I get to meet Jessica Flux. Oh my gosh, there's so many cool people that are going to be coming out on that.
Well, well, I've talked to Jess about being in my movie. She's just over in Indiana, so it's only like I think it's like an hour and a half drive over here.
Nice.
So that works out pretty well. Um, it's bad because like the ones who really want to work with like work because technically it's working with Don Farmer, even though it's just he's the producer. Um, they're talking about like where you at? And they're like Georgia, or so I'm working with Anna Zayton. She's going to film a scene because she's going to be a ship captain, so you never see her with the other group. So I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
that's
I need it
super
to look like a
fun.
like a ship, and I was like, the other thing I need you to do because she has really cool green hair, and she did her makeup, and then she did black light, so it was all glowing. I was like, can you do that?
Oh, random thought. Um, I, Speaking of like ship captain, I got to do an alien sex scene for Joe Sherlock. Um, I don't believe that one's out yet. Darn it. Speaking of voice acting, sorry, my head is
Oh,
everywhere.
you're good. You're
Um,
good.
so are you a fan of the Camp Blood movies?
Uh, you know what? I've never seen the first one, unfortunately.
Oh man,
I
I
is
worked
it
in quite a
I
few
will
of
try to
them.
find one tonight because I've got a couple other movies I got to watch too. Because
What Camp Blood 7? It kills.
okay, Camp Blood 7, it
Start with
kills.
that one.
Okay,
Start with that one. I had so much fun working with Mark Filoni on that. And just, I got to meet Jamie. Oh my gosh, she's incredibly sweet. And gosh, like the whole crew, I just love working with them, especially like Jeff Kirkendall. All these people are amazing, amazing, amazing to work with. They put up with my butt.
you can be just
um,
hard to
I,
work with them.
I know I'm such a diva. It's that $7 million,
It's just $7
ego.
million of yours. Yeah.
What else do I have going? I just filmed on my second movie I did since I was back. I can't mention the first one because, like NDA and stuff, like I have an amazing topless picture with the monster and that I can't post yet or anything. But I got to work with Matt Burns on Head on a Writer's Block, and that should be coming out soon-ish. And I just had an audiobook drop like an hour or two ago. It should be um Coven Cove Book 5, House of the Rising Sun. Um doing that whole series. Love it. And I'm super duper looking forward to. I'm going to be shooting with my dear friend Don Cross. If you've seen any of my pinup stuff, it's probably been his photos. So that's really exciting.
So before I forget again here, I always ask everybody this: do you know where, like, what movies you have on Tubi or Plex or anything like that, or which ones you have streaming?
So I have an entire list. If you go to my Facebook fan page, not my normal profile, my fan page, there's an album titled Movies. And I try to keep the list current. I try to check it about once a year and, just Googling what is still out, what has come down, and where to get it or watch it. It's about that time for the yearly update. Um, but that's the most comprehensive list because things, are available and then they're no longer available or they change platforms or whatever. But I also know if you go to Tubi and you type in Mel Heflin, quite a few pop up, but not all of them have me tagged like that either.
Yeah, but it's because it's Tubi has become like the mecca for indie films now.
And I can finally watch it now. I couldn't watch it in Japan. And people are like, Mel, why haven't you seen this movie that we worked on together? And it's like,
I'm in
yeah,
Japan.
Japan blocks all the good stuff, I guess. It even has Crunchyroll blocked and
That
Funimation, yeah. Yeah.
that makes
We had
sense
all that stuff blocked.
because that's Funimation is different than in Japan. It's the same reason that we can't get certain video games in America because the copyright holder in Japan is different than the copyright holder in America.
I am gonna miss getting the Japanese side of stuff. And the releases is like a day earlier or whatever. But I'm really glad to be able to have Tubi.
I got lucky in high school, and a girl I used to hang out with, she was from Japan. She's Japanese, and every summer she'd go back home, well, to like visit family, and she would record all the anime she could on the VHS tapes and then bring them back to me. So I was watching
Nice.
anime well before it came out here in America and trying to explain to people, and they're like, because I watched Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z when I was still in high school, and that
Yeah.
was in the '90s, and they're like, that didn't come out until I was like, no, this is from Japan. This is
Yeah.
not. And they're like, how'd you get that? I was like, I think I still have some of the VHS tapes, but yeah. But that's got to be crazy not to be able to switch your own stuff because you're in the wrong country, not wrong
It
country.
it was very isolating. And so I remember like the thing that really like struck with me was I felt really hard to get a job because, military and overseas and waiting for paperwork to go back and forth and the time
Oh,
difference and everything. And then I finally get my kid in daycare and they want not one, not two, but three different emergency contacts. And we haven't been allowed outside of our house whatsoever. And and they want the emergency contacts to be within that country. And I haven't spoken to anyone in months. And they're like, just knock on your neighbor's door and get them to fill that out. And it's like, you're gonna do what? It was very isolating, and I'm happy to work again. I'm so happy to work again.
a friend of mine spent a bunch of time in Japan. He goes, yeah, he goes, I got a job working as a fake British cop at a restaurant. And he goes, why did you get a fake? He goes, because we're white and to them it doesn't matter. They just like, he's close enough. British American, the same thing. So
Yeah. Do you want to know what I did in Japan?
what'd you do in Japan?
No joke. I was an actual librarian. Like cataloging and like working with books.
Did you do the glasses in the bun?
Oh, of course. Um, it's it's been a lot to change my wardrobe because like Japan values modesty, and if I wanted to stop by the grocery store or the gas station for a sandwich or something, on my way to work, it was very inappropriate to even wear dresses at the knee, like just by the way you get looked at. Um, so it's been a lot to change my wardrobe back to wearing cutouts and mini skirts and showing my shoulders and collarbones again, to showing a lot more. It's been very nice.
It's the societal changes are crazy. The like I said, I used to hang out with. I got lumped in because I was the kid that liked anime in high school and Godzilla movies and stuff like that. So I ended up befriending a lot of the Japanese kids because we were really close to where Honda was. So
Yeah.
a lot of the people would bring their kids in and stuff like that. And so I became friends with a lot of them, and it was funny because they don't look. They look at me and they see because this outside of the facial hair and stuff. I pretty much look mostly what I looked like back in when I was a kid, and we had to get up and do a. We got a presentation on like grades and stuff and where we you know. So we're getting up, and all of a sudden my one buddy sat next to me. He looks at me. He goes, you're here for award? And I'm like, yeah, I got an award for I can't remember. I got like a vocational aptitude thing where I was excelling at that, and then I got a couple other honor roll and stuff like that. And he's just like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm smart. Go figure. And it's like, and he goes, I don't want to be bad, but he goes, but you don't look. And I was like, no, I don't look smart. I guess that's what you're saying. He goes, no. He goes, you because if they saw somebody look like me in Japan, I would be a bad kid. I'd be the ones that wasn't. And then they come over here and I'm honor roll and getting awards for all this stuff like that. And they see me still and they're like, what? That's not what we see. And I'm like, yeah, that's how we work over here. I was like, and you'll
No
go to college.
uniforms here.
Yeah, oh, yeah. So and I don't want to keep you too long. Do where can we find Mel on the internet?
So this is going to be really difficult. It's the same on every platform. It's just Mel Heflin, Melheflin.
And that is your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, TikTok, any of those like that? Okay.
Twitter, Instagram. That's like the big four. Um, yeah, that's. I had a website at one point. That's a lot to update.
Um, can people buy Mel merchandise, movies, signed pictures?
So I'm hoping to get that up and going again. I just need my desk. I need a desk again. It was inappropriate for me to use the US postal system over in Japan to ship anything business related. So that's why I wasn't shipping anything over the last few years, but I can get that started again, probably as early as possibly next month.
Okay. Now, do you have physical copies of your movies for sale or anything like that?
I usually do. Usually that's my shtick is like I sell copies of movies at conventions, like I take wonderful photos. I love my pictures, but I know people are there. They want the physical media, the movies. But I also um, I'm probably going to need to have new molds taken, but I I sell Mel nips. I have actual food grade silicone molds of my nipples, and I did a candy making class. Yeah, you see where I'm going,
Yep.
where I actually have like packaged, um, like so that way you can just munch on my nipples while you're watching my movies. And I sell those at conventions. And even if I make 200 boxes, they always sell out. So come early.
There you go. And I want to say thank you because you are one of the first girl that actors actresses that I've talked to that will sell physical copies signed because everybody else is like, well, we don't have any. I'm like,
What?
you don't have any. They,
Like I'm a physical media person. I want to go and buy my friends movies and I want them to sign it. I
yep,
want them to sign the DVD. I want them to sign the cover and write something ridiculous or draw a picture. And I'll totally do the same.
yeah. I've got DVDs and Blu-rays over there that of my friends' movies, and they're like, "Do you want me to
Yeah,
sign this?" I'm like, "Yeah, really? Yeah,
yeah, of
sign it.
course.
Yes." It's like,
And you got to
why?
have like the different paint pens and markers to color coordinate your signature.
Yeah, because every time I talk to them, they're like, "Anybody got a marker?" I'm like, "You have a Sharpie?" I say that as I used to always wear a work shirt with a Sharpie and an ink pen in my pocket. So I'm like, "There you
See,
go.
that's just why I have boobs.
Just put it." As a husband of a wife that's well endowed, yes, she put a pen there,
But we
put
do.
money under, or although I did post at my shop every summer, we have to say no boob or sock money, because
Well, you're not going to get my money then.
you're like, there you go, and you're just like, I, I'm not gonna lie, it
I
depends on
hate
the
carrying boobs.
attractiveness of the person giving it to you.
Oh.
So if you're like some, one of my kids' mom walking in, you're just like,
Hey, a boob's a boob, even if it's a man boob.
yeah.
I think so, anyways.
Well, it was I had to ask this because my wife worked in a restaurant for a while, and she always the gay guys became fascinated by her boobs every time. So, and I've noticed this with filmmaking and stuff like that. I've met some gay directors and stuff like that, and they love having lots of boobs in their movies. I'm like, so let me ask, why? And I'm like, is it because like everything we you don't have your, it's like they're there.
Well, why is it?
It, it, it's aesthetically it's pleasing because the shape
Is
makes
that why I have to soap up my boobs in like every movie?
them shine.
There's a movie I have coming up that has 3 shower scenes. It's gonna be glorious
It's 3 shower scenes, 10 minutes
in the
long.
same movie. I'm so excited.
Is that a record? I gotta find out. It's 3 shower
So
scenes
far.
so far.
So far.
Next movie is. Then we're just
At
gonna have
least.
shower scene the movie. The whole entire movie takes place in a
With
shower.
CGI spider cats crawling all around the tub. And it's me screaming and intermittently soaping my boobs.
Well, see, I wanted to make a movie years ago that took place in like a big like a health spa shower, so it's one of the big communal showers,
Yeah.
and the building's on fire. So these people are trapped in there with the water running, and so it'll stay and try not.
Oh.
And so the whole entire movie would take place in a running shower.
It's like Saw, like the single like
Yeah,
area.
single one room, everybody in a shower while the building burns around them.
Cost effective, actually.
Yeah,
You could film that maybe in one day
yeah. See, that's what I'm hoping for with my
if
movie because I
everybody
made
knows
it,
their lines.
yeah, cost effective because I'm filming it at my store. uh, but it's that's gotta be crazy though, because it wasn't until I started realizing how, like, oh, gotta find this, you gotta move your people here, you gotta move your people there. I'm like, how cost effective a one scene or one room, one house, whatever. And I'm like, that's why so many people film in a house in these horror movies that I've seen. And they're like,
Yeah,
it's
limited locations.
mhm. And
Yeah,
then
more
I wa-
locations, more problems.
I got told early on because I wanted to do a movie that took place in the late '70s, and a friend of mine looked at me and goes, "No," he goes, "You know how much it
Because
would
then you're
cost?"
gonna have to tell your female lead who does nudity that she's gonna have to grow a bush.
Well, the one girl was like, I was like, I need nudity. She's, I'm fine with that. I'm like, it's '70s nudity.
Been
He's
there.
like, what does that mean? I'm like, '70s, like, you're not.
So we're gonna cut your hair day of, and then
Move from here to here. What? Nothing.
it's just all true.
Gonna make a merkin.
But it wouldn't be the first time.
No, I mean literally. What Xena wore? What's her name? Lucy Lawless. All through filming of Spartacus, she wore a merkin, and
And
that
things.
things I did not know existed until the internet had it to
One
me.
thing I won't do again though is I won't dye my pubes. Yeah. Yeah, no. I don't recommend. I don't recommend.
Why would that even be a? I mean, people wear that.
Aesthetic. It's got to fit the film. It's aesthetic.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to be a jerk, but there's not a lot of girls that the lack of a better term, carpetbaggers and
Ooh.
drapes.
And I will not have my hair dyed black for a film again. Nothing wrong with the color black. Nothing wrong. But to get it back to anything else, yeah, no.
No.
Ask any hairstylist how easy it is to, you know,
Well, and if you're as many movies as you're making, you'd go like, okay, I need to dye hair black. Okay, well, in 2 weeks I'm going to be over here and it'll be a redhead. And oh,
that's a true thing that happened. And like I'm really proud of the project. But it was because they didn't want two redheads in a certain scene. And like I get it. I get it. But let me wear a wig next time.
although I'm a nerdy guy and I'm also married to a redhead. So two redheads in a movie in the same scene would just be like,
Right.
I mean, lack of better, we always joked around that I grew up in my early crushes were Scarlett from GI Joe, redhead, Mary Jane from Spider Man, redhead, Jean Grey from X Men, redhead. Uh,
I see why you wanted the interview.
and my beautiful redhead wife upstairs who legitimately deals with my bullshit is epically. But yeah, it's it's well, everybody's fascinated by red hair. I've noticed with my wife, and is because people will not leave her hair alone. So you always see these people come going, "Oh my god, let me see it." She works. She works. She is a medical assistant and medical office management, and now she's in a assisted living facility. And so the old people think that they can come up and play with her hair constantly. She's like, everybody's like, "Oh, I like your hair," and then she cut her hair off. She had hair like that long, and it's now this long. And all them old people were like, "Why? Why did you get that beautiful?" And I'm like, "Exactly. Why?"
I wonder.
Yes. So I am going to let you go because I don't want to tie up any more of your time. We've been talking for over an hour and a half now.
I can talk forever. Look out.
See, we'll have to do a part two so I can bring. This is just another excuse to bring you back. That's my goal. So
And
I
in like 2 weeks, I'm gonna have like a whole different,
yeah, you're gonna have a whole other.
all this stuff keeps coming out, and I'm so grateful for it. There's so
There you
much stuff.
go.
Grim Reaper 3 available now on YouTube, I believe.
On YouTube.
I have all these notes. All this stuff keeps coming out. It's amazing.
So when's your next movie coming out? When's the next like if it's in 2 weeks, like the other one was just out?
People have been surprising me recently. Like if I look away from my computer for like more than an hour, something else pops up that's like, this available now. And it's like, what's happening? It's been really fantastical. Uh yeah. I can't tell you because it could be tomorrow. Um Nobody's been giving me really much of heads up recently, and it's just been, like my birthday every day. Having these movies come out.
That would have to be cool. See,
Oh, it's great.
I was a video store manager, so it was always movies every Tuesday. So it was only
Yeah.
on Tuesday. Now there's like, oh, this movie dropped today. This movie dropped today. This movie, and it's like, it's Wednesday, it's Friday, it's Saturday, it's a Sunday. Who drops a movie on a Sunday?
Speaking of Grim Reaper 3, it literally premiered on my birthday. It
Cool.
was so exciting. I wasn't there, but it was exciting. I wanted to be there. I mean, I can't split myself in so many yet.
Yeah. Once you figure that out, cloning, and you're like,
GI or
but I will let you go. It's been a blast. I love having you on the show. I can't wait to have you back. And like I said, we can talk about more movies because I legitimately have like just questions about movies like
write them all down for next time.
we're gonna have a documented like all right. So
Mel Heflin documentary
that's
/
right.
machine.
So it'd be like you were a cheerleader in Natasha's nightly not Natasha's 90s boudoir of blood. You were a
Just
cheerleader.
call 1-800 We Are Legal. It was an old 90s commercial. 90s, yeah. Remember those? Remember those top lines? Yeah.
I was like trying to explain to guys that come in my shop because they're almost all in their early 20s, and I have to explain to them what 100 numbers were. They're like, why? Didn't you just get online? Oh, the internet didn't exist yet, kids. It's like, so you had to talk to a girl. Yeah, a real girl, not like you went and talked to the girl that you worked with or, stuff like that. But I've been like, because you always got I was going to say, you probably got the creepy guys and like, so you were a cheerleader in that. Do you still have the costume? And is it for sale?
Of course. Hey, that's totally why we list my wardrobe sometimes on the Indiegogos, because like, what am I gonna do with it?
Yeah, that's true. You can be out there, take it
If
to your
somebody can enjoy it.
Yeah. I have a framed dress from the TV show Lucifer.
Nice.
Because it's Screen Lauren. It's not one by the main cast. It's by one of the extras in the zombie wedding episode. I have that framed up and it's at my shop. And
That's awesome.
my buddy looked at me and he's like, I was like, I'm so happy to get it. And he's like, you gonna wear it? I was like, I made my ass look big. And he went, what? And I'm like, I don't have an ass.
I just signed my wardrobe for Killer Kong when I went and worked on that. And that I don't know where that's going to pop up available, but as always, I post about it.
There you go. Let people know. And
Yeah.
This will drop Monday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time.
I was terrified we were live. Oh wait, people are going to see that.
Send me any links or anything, or anybody we'll post them at the end. We'll put the credits and stuff up so people can find you and whatnot. And also, if anything else you'd want to put on there, just let me know. We'll put it up there. So,
I have a list.
like I said, it's been a blast. I can't wait to have you back. And I will just ask more dumb questions and converse about other stuff. So.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, all right. Well, you take care and have a good night. And I got to go let my dogs out. So
I have to go cause terror and stuff.
It'll cause
Yes.
terror.
It's a nightly thing.
So yeah. So if you're like me and I have no clue how old your child is, but I gotta go bother mine because he's probably upstairs being a turd to his mom.
Oh no. Good luck with that.
Yeah. So take care. Good night.
Good night.